Today we're stepping into the time machine and checking out the OG content creators for Rise of Kingdoms. These are the people that got started way back in the day and got accepted in the official program in 2018. There were, I think, 11 or so content creators. We're going to go look at their YouTube pages to see where were they when they started. I'll tell a little bit of their story, and we'll talk about where they are now, at least what we can figure out by looking at their channels and seeing what they're up to. And you should just do me the favor of sounding off in the comments if you played back in the day when it was called Rise of Civilizations before it rebranded to Rise of Kingdoms, okay? This is going to be a trip down memory freaking lane. We're going to start with the three creators you see here: Gekko Gaming, Shinchi42, Legend Rhony, and we'll continue on to the second and third batch reveals of the people who got accepted into the program, because this was like a big deal, y'all. Like they put out this message, okay, here, that I applied to, and maybe in a separate video, I'll share with you my entire letter that I used to apply. And I actually hey, look, I had 0 subscribers when I applied, okay? And then I started making videos every day. Got to 200 or so subscribers. They reached out to me because my letter was, I guess, compelling, and I think it was. And we had like a almost 2-hour conversation on the phone. It was like an hour and a half. And they were like, all right, well, you're small and you don't have any subs yet, but I believe in you. And they put me in the program. Here we are, 250,000 subscribers later. Anyways, let's look at the first creator. And let's go check out someone that you saw recently on my channel because he's covering Diablo Immortal. And he and I got to meet in person at Blizzard. My freaking homie, Gekko Gaming, baby. All right, here we are on Gekko Gaming's YouTube channel. When he joined the Rise of Civilizations Community Program, I feel like he had like 250,000 subscribers. He's currently covering Moko on his main channel, so obviously he no longer is covering Rise of Kingdoms. In fact, he regrets departing from the Rise of Kingdoms Community Program. He had gotten offered a bunch of things all at once that were too good to turn down as amazing opportunities, and got rug pulled on like all of it. It was insane, but this happens on YouTube all the time. I don't really talk about it too much, and so you all as an audience don't get much exposure to this, but there's a lot of weirdness on the internet, obviously, and YouTube especially. People are just, they'll disappoint you, man, on the internet. It is a bummer. But yeah, so after he got completely screwed by these folks and all these opportunities rug pulled him, he did come back to cover Call of Dragons briefly, and he was a part of the BDO fam, which was really cool. But at this point, he's kind of locked in with Moko on this channel, and he was covering Clash of Clans. Bunch of Clash of Clans folks came over as a part of this community program. He has multiple channels for one on Diablo Immortal, one on Raid Shadow Legends, and one on Etheria Restart, new game, came out recently. So that's Gekko freaking Gaming, man. And we got to meet in person. He is probably the person I am the closest to of everyone I've met on YouTube. Gekko is an extremely upstanding dude. He is legit, man. He is the truth. Gekko freaking Gaming, everybody. The man, the myth, the legend. He and I did the most popular Rise of Kingdoms collab, by the way. Popular in terms of watches. We made this guide back in the day, top 10 pro tips for new players for Rise of Kingdoms. I forget who initiated that conversation, if he reached out to me or I reached out to him. But the way that a collab should work between a tiny creator, which was me, and a larger creator, which was him, is he brings exposure and I bring all the valuable information. That's like how a collab works. And I got a few comments on a video recently because I was reacting to other people's content, and people were like, shame on you, Chisgule. And it's like, bro, the people I'm reacting to have all expressed incredible gratitude for the exposure, right? And like, I'm fortunate to have something awesome to react to. They get the benefit of all the exposure and the referral traffic. It's a huge win. It's a huge win. And like, look, as a big creator myself now, like, if someone's bringing me all the information for a vid, like, yeah, let's freaking go, man. That's huge. Love to collab. But like, most people don't know how to collab. And it's like, the small creator needs to bring all the information and deliver on that, and the big creator goes in and makes a banger of a video that gets a lot of attention. Anyways, Gekko freaking Gaming. Let's move on to Legend Rhony. All right, Legend Rhony, man. This dude was known as one of the OG fighters in Rise of Kingdoms. he got into a couple controversies that, like, I don't know, man. Like, I tried to help him out for one of these where in the Rise of Civilizations community program, they gave us a bunch of information in advance on how KVK was going to work. To me, it was extremely obvious that this was like embargoed information that you only publish about at a certain time. He published the whole freaking thing, man, the whole freaking thing. And I was like, I messaged him. I was like, dude, like, definitely that was not how this was supposed to go. He's like, well, I don't think that's right. I think I can post it. And well, he had to take it down. And that honestly set the community program back quite a bit because rightfully the developers stopped trusting people to have information in advance. It is what it is. I liked Legend Rhony. He was a cool dude. He and I get along. I hope he's doing well. He stopped making Rise of Kingdoms content. We've definitely battled in the past, which is kind of hilarious. And he's got videos where, like, you know, we were battling in Ark of Osiris back when that was something that mattered a lot to me. But dude, look at this. Back in the day, so this happened. Dragothian's YouTube account got hacked. On the topic of, like, I told you people send all these shady offers and you get all these false things and scams. So Drago got wrecked by a scam. Dragothian is not in the OG creator program, but he is an OG dude, upstanding. Also one of the folks that I am closest to, I would say. From my time YouTubing, where, like, I completely trust him implicitly. And anyway, so he got hacked and I was able to help him get his account restored. I don't know if people knew that, but, like, I had a point of contact at YouTube that was able to move the needle on helping him get his stuff back. So, yeah, his channel was completely shut down. It was some sort of, like, crypto scam that basically, like, they take over your channel, make it look like you're advertising crypto stuff constantly. And it was like, dude, it was really nuts. Anyways, Legend Rhony, I hope he's doing well. He stopped making videos for Rise of Kingdoms. He was playing Diablo for a bit. I don't know if he had some like recent content about that. I guess not. No, there it is, Monk PvP. He was doing that for a bit, but I hope he's doing well, whatever he's up to. He got to 67,000 subscribers. He was playing Art of Conquest, I think is what the game was, which was a predecessor to Rise of Civilizations, which is why he was like, and I think at the time he was like 15,000 subscribers. So we did get a lot of growth from Rise of Kingdoms. So Shinchi42 ultimately quit Rise of Kingdoms, but he was one of the first creators for the game. And I remember watching his OG video, okay, about, like, the original talent system in this game. Bro, it was so crazy. But at the time, there was, like, nobody making videos. Now, at this point, he's obviously covering this other game, Dark Legion. But he quit Rise of Kingdoms. He was doing some other stuff for a time. And he and I actually met in LA. So the makers of Rise of Kingdoms flew us out to LA to put us in a commercial with the Pawn Stars. If you don't remember that, dude, hey, dude, it's funny, like, every now and then I try to put that picture of, like, us with the Pawn Stars in game and it keeps getting rejected. And I'm like, no, dude, that's me in that picture with the Pawn Stars. Like, this really happened. But he and I met in LA. And we, you know, it looks like he's been playing a couple other games here. None of them have really kind of, like, landed in the way that Rise of Kingdoms did. And, like, quite frankly, you know, few games do become as popular as Rise of Kingdoms did. So I hope he's doing well. He's continuing to make vids here, 111,000 subscribers. When he started, again, he had like 3,000 subscribers when he got accepted into the program, okay? But now we got to go to the next batch, all right? The next batch of content creators. And there's some big creators here, okay? Nick at Nyte, Clash Bashing, and Gekko freaking Gaming. Oh, man. Let's go and start with the Gekko, man. Many people don't know this, but he encouraged me to keep making content and keep playing at a time when I was ready to quit. So after the first KVK and Rise of Kingdoms, wherein they had just opened up migration and you could, like, literally migrate to a kingdom that was in the middle of fighting. So we had a whole bunch of people migrate specifically to fight my group in the middle of KVK. There's a bunch of drama as to, like, why that was the case. I don't know that I need to reveal who, but, like, somebody was extremely mad that I had been able to convince an entire kingdom. By the way, back in the day, entire kingdoms were transferring servers, by the way. So you'd have, like, we had multiple kingdoms transfer into my Kingdom back in the day, many of them. And like, it was crazy. Okay. But this one person was extremely bitter that we were both talking to the same group and they had chosen me instead of them. And so they, as retaliation, petty retaliation, they went and they recruited dozens and dozens and dozens of tier 5+ players to migrate in specifically to fight against us. It really sucked. We took the L, and I was like, this is really dumb. I'm just going to quit. I was a product manager at the time, and having a lot of success with that. And I was like, I don't need this in my life. I'm just going to do something else with my time. And Gekko this was the guy who was like, trust me, bro. Your channel is seeing so much growth. You have to stick with this. You will regret if you don't. And he was so right. So Gekko Gaming made, I think in a way, like a lot of content guide-wise, it's all similar across all the creators. But his differentiation was, I think, in the stories and the drama. And he would really dig into some of the KVK stories and drama. Before covering Rise of Kingdoms, he was covering Lords Mobile as one of his main games. And he had a really big role in one KVK where he had migrated to join the Death Squad team. And back in the day, many people don't know this, but back in the day, you only had access to commanders based on time and the age of your kingdom. So he had access to Zenobia at the time when she was busted. Nobody else had her. And he migrated backwards with Zenobia. And like his garrisoning was like absolutely crucial to that KVK because he had this commander that like nobody else playing that KVK had access to. Obviously that needed to change. So the developers moved in this direction we're in now, where once you're in Season of Conquest, you have the same sort of access to commanders. But some of his thumbnails look better than I remember, honestly. I don't know if he went back and redid some of these, but I like the thumbnail design a lot, actually. Anyways, Gekko freaking Gaming, man. The freaking legend. So crazy. Let's see here. If I scroll all the way up, if we get a look at some of his most popular videos, these are going to be probably some, yeah, there it is. Bren Chong, this like mega Kraken from Lords Mobile. 500,000 views is like just really insane viewership. So he and I both, obviously saw a lot of growth from covering Rise of Kingdoms. He's up to 33.6K subscribers. Many people don't know this, but he was, for a time, kind of covering Brawl Stars. And he was actually, bro, let me tell you, Brawl Stars just popped off so much. I've never seen anything like it for a mobile game where they just went to the moon. But yeah, like that would have been a good game to have stuck with, truthfully. That did so well. Anyways, let's go look at the next creator here. Next creator on the list is Clash Bashing. Okay, so Clash Bashing, I would say, had a very sort of brief engagement with Rise of Kingdoms. He's at, 2/3 subscribers, and he was big back in the day as well. I'm pretty sure his subscriber base has doubled since the beginning of joining the Rise of Civilizations community program. I never really got to know him. Seemed like a really chill dude. He's still making his Clash content, which is getting, 10 to 15,000 views a vid. Is pretty outstanding. Looking pretty good there. And he's a full-time content creator. And he grew off of, Clash of Clans, and he's still doing it, man. So he, played Rise of Kingdoms briefly, ultimately didn't stick with the game. It's not for everybody. And, when you already have such huge viewership for some other game, like it makes sense that he ultimately kind of went back to his roots here. I don't know if he's got any like super popular Rise of Kingdoms vids, but like, when you're getting 2 million views on your best videos for Clash, like, yeah, he was cooking for Clash. Yeah, I mean, these views are really, I think most creators would be like, holy shit, that's incredible. Wish I could get that. So yeah, hope he's doing well. I mean, I think he is. He's continuing to cover Clash. And now we got to talk about Nick at Nyte, pictured over here. So, this is a tricky topic, but I'll say this. Nick has transitioned. So it's now Nicole at Nyte, I believe. His old channel, he shut down. And back when he was a big creator covering Rise of Kingdoms in this community program, let me tell you, I really wanted to collab with him. And I had gotten an intro, but ultimately it never went anywhere. And now as someone who gets like overwhelmed with messages and like genuinely doesn't have time to respond to them, I like completely get it. But I really wanted to collab with him. I mean, dude, he had like millions of subscribers. The dude is legend. And now he is a she. And so let's go on to the next one here. We've got finally me in this roster. Spooby, Clashing Duke, The Game Huntah, Stridox Plays, and Chisgule Gaming. Oh, man. Freaking Spooby. So, all right, so Spooby, he is incredibly high energy. He and I did some collabs back in the day. And for those of you that knew him back then and now, he actually lost a ton of weight. And it's very commendable how he locked in, lost a bunch of weight. Absolutely amazing. And you can see it in the videos. So that's like not an easy thing to do. And I commend him on it, honestly. I'm laughing as I look at, like, I don't know what this intro is. But he's very creative. He's up to 15.2 thousand subscribers. He got kind of wrecked when he was covering a Supercell game that hadn't yet released. I can't remember what it was called. I think it was Clash Mini. It was an auto battler game. That ultimately got canceled after 2 years and rolled into Clash Royale. And that literally just happened. So it's, oh yeah, Clash Mini is back as Merge Tactics, right? So now this is like a new mini game within Clash Royale. And presumably he'll be making vids about that because, you know, he was really into the auto chess. Creative dude, was a part of some controversies and stirred up some stuff. Ultimately departed from Rise of Kingdoms as a result of that. And yeah, thank goodness all the drama's behind us. Clashing Duke. So Clashing Duke, super upstanding dude. I got to know him only briefly, but he was super chill. He really knew how to make a video that could get a ton of views. And he knew how to make the thumbnail, title, and content combination that just slapped. I mean, 87,000 views. I know this was 6 years ago, but for my grading, I'm like, yeah, like this is a clickable thumbnail for sure. 100%. Super chill dude. Ultimately departed from Rise of Kingdoms because he was, you know, not into content creation to be doing this thing like as a full-time gig. And like at the end of the day, like, yeah, some of these videos don't even have 1,000 views. So he like wasn't getting the kind of results on all his vids that you'd want to see to be like, yeah, I'm going to keep doing this. And if I scroll through here, I mean, you have Rise of Civilizations days. He's called Clashing Duke because I think it was like Clash Royale or Clash of Clans that he did before that. He does have some pretty popular videos from that back in the day. We got to look at popular here. Where's he at? Yeah, dude, 1 million views. Jeez. So I told you there were a lot of these Clash of Clans guys that moved in on Rise of Kingdoms. And, you know, there's definitely a huge distinction between a base builder and a city building war game. They're like not at all the same thing, even though you might think they are. Like that's not quite it. Starting over, restarting an old account, Rise of Civilizations. Smart, man. Smart. Yeah, dude knew what he was doing. Clashing Duke, also a guy. He drops into my streams once in a blue moon, but like so cool to hear from him. And really chill. Like, I don't know how to say this, but like you meet a lot of people on the internet and like they're not actually a mature adult, but he's one of the good ones. GG. Okay, The Game Huntah. Let's check this dude out. I remember this dude and I was like shocked at his channel because he had like tons and tons and tons and tons of views on videos. And I was like, oh my God, that's actually insane. I might actually just need to click the link. Hopefully this takes me to a vid. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Now we got it. All right, here's his channel. So The Game Huntah, he covered this game, Slug It Out, something or other, popular. Look at this. Yes, what is this? Slug It Out. Slug Terra, that's it. 3 million views. Holy, like, bro, 2 million views on Clash Royale. 1 million views, 1 million views. almost a million views, like absolutely insane views. And what's he up to now? He is, covering Squad Busters. Well, I made a channel about Squad Busters, and I actually became a super creator for Supercell, covering Squad Busters. Love the game. When I had my third kid, I just had too much to do, and I couldn't maintain that channel on top of all my other stuff. And I ultimately felt like I wasn't confident that that game was going to pop off in the way that it would need to for me to be able to keep covering it on top of all the other things I was doing. And they recently had a Sonic collab, which probably was very cool. I mean, who isn't interested in that collab, you know? But anyways, the game Huntah is still making content. Wow, look at this. So this is crazy. I did not know that he was doing Squad Busters. That's wild. The truth about Squad Busters 2.0. Oh man, crazy to see. 139,000 subscribers. There it is. 3.3K vids. Wow. And then Stridox. It's like not giving me the channel, but whatever. We got there. He quit Lord Mobile 6 years ago. I'm leaving vacation. Quitting Lords Mobile. So I guess he was a Lords Mobile player. 21.1 thousand subscribers. I don't know what this game is that he's covering here. Does not look like a city building war game. But it looks like, 9 months ago, 1 month ago. So he looks like he kind of dropped off from content creation. GG. Oh, Big Spender Zeroing. Hold up. League of Kingdoms. I never even heard of that game. League of Kingdoms. Looks like Guns and Glory. So he getting involved with the mob. We got shot by the mob. Oh, GTA. Okay. Well, that makes a little more sense. Dude, how to unlock Constantine? That's crazy. 6 years ago, 12,000 views. People want to know, how do you unlock Constantine? Honestly, I miss the days. Here's the Rise of Civilizations videos. I miss the days when I could make a video about a holiday event and get like 60,000 views. And it's like, dude, it's actually just the same holiday event we've seen before, but 60,000 views is what I could get from that. Yeah, no, I mean, my viewership has dropped very, 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 very dramatically from peak. But let's see here. Chisgule Gaming. I guess it's time to talk about me. Here it is, man. Here it is. The channel. So insane. My most popular videos were back in the day about Solimar. I mean, you know this story. How I was at a class with my wife about having a baby, and I was like, hey, hun, I'm going to have to... We could take the class again. I got to record this. And I whip out my phone. I got a message. Solimar is getting zeroed. And that's my most popular vid at 1.3 mil. We got 750, 600,000, 600,000, 500,000, 466. Yeah, no, I mean, we got some vids. We got some vids up in here, man. It's been a hell of a journey. I've honestly learned a lot. I mean, gosh, I beefed with Nefisto, and now Nefisto and I are friends. It's like, dude, we went from him threatening to get my sponsorship pulled to now sponsoring content on my channel. Like, if that doesn't illustrate the journey that I've been on, like, I honestly don't know what does. I'm hyped for hopefully many more years to come, covering, you know, Rise of Kingdoms, Call of Dragons, city building war games in general. I mean, look at this. 85,000 views to take the Lost Temple with this absolute dog shit thumbnail. That's insane. Get free barbarian packs. Use AoE commanders, right? Like the OG vids on AoE barb farming, 83,000 views. I miss when I could make a Kusunoki guide and get 83,000 views with this shit thumbnail. Bro, it's so crazy, right? Like, Minamoto, Expertise, and VIP, 81,000 views. It's honestly, like, insane how many views I could get back in the day. God damn, 80,000 views on checking out, what, a Game of Empires, Warring Realms? That's a hell of an outcome for a sponsored vid, not gonna lie. That vid actually popped off. That vid. Oh, look, my Saladin video. Is he good in 2020? 80,000 views, right? Like, I'm trying to scroll down and find for you one of these holiday vids that I did, where it's like, yeah, I used to be able to make a holiday vid, and it will pop off. Which brings me to a little bit of like okay, so we grew this from nothing. We've arrived in this place. Now what? And it's always very weird as a YouTuber because so much of my relevance is tied to the popularity and need for Rise of Kingdoms guides and videos. And the need for Rise of Kingdoms videos has gone way down. I mean, there's now tons of people who have provided ways to get the same information other than from a video, or there are tons of other creators making videos now that were not before that, look, when you're the only Belisarius guide in town, you got a corner on the market. But when you got like a dozen people that all want to make a Belisarius guide or live stream the same stuff that you were streaming the day that the thing comes out, like, it 100% hurts the viewership. 100%. Like 300%. It's a way more competitive situation than it was when I started. And it's funny to say that because I show you all these creators that were making content and like somehow it's more competitive now than it was then. And I think the other piece of the puzzle is, a lot of people were just starting the game, had no clue how things worked. Gathering tips, gathering tips, 206,000 views. And a part of it is like I could make another gathering video, I guess. But like I just don't want to. Right? Like I've lost interest. I don't know. My strategy for YouTube has always been a little bit weird. Well, is it weird? I don't know. I think it's smart. Like I've had my second channel where I go in and I cover other games, and my goal is to achieve stability. I know how fickle YouTube can be. As a career path, it's honestly kind of insane. I kind of can't believe in a way that this has worked out as well as it has for as long as it has. And I suppose I should say thank you, because like without your support, like I would not be able to do what I'm doing here. So as I was saying, my kind of strategy here has been to, while I have the main channel up and running, get a second thing going so that if for some reason, like I were to no longer, like if Rise of Kingdoms fell off from popularity, or Call of Dragons fell off from popularity, or they decide they're not doing a community program anymore, like I'm not just like, I need to have options, and you can't just cook something up overnight and be successful with the channel. So on this other channel, I've covered a bunch of games. I was all in on Squad Busters. I was one of the top creators for that game. Learned a lot covering a totally different genre. Became a super creator for Supercell. Would definitely play some of the other games as well and give that a shot. But I've covered other games on here. Lord of the Rings, Rise to War, War and Order, covered Puzzles and Survival. I did, here's Lord of the Rings, Rise to War. I mean, I did a bunch of games on here, but ultimately felt like none of them were kind of popping off in the way that I needed for it to make sense. And, it's all about trajectory. Like, does the trajectory of that game look good? I recently-ish started doing Whiteout Survival. It's been like 6 months, but let's see here. We pull this up. Channel's doing all right, up to 13,500 subscribers. I mean, it's funny. I'm like, it's just doing okay. And it's funny because, I'm sure a bunch of YouTubers would be like, oh my God, I wish I could be in that position of having a channel that could do that. But it's a lot, man. I mean, to keep being a YouTuber, and by the way, we look at the list, right? Who's left? Technically, Spooby is still making content. Clash is gone. Game Huntah makes content, but neither Spooby nor Game Huntah, I think, are full-time. Stridox is not full-time. I'm a full-time creator. We scroll on down. Nicole, I don't know what they're up to at this point. Clash Bashing is a full-time creator still. Gekko no longer makes content. I mean, very few of the original are still around. Echo still makes content. Shinji still makes content, but I don't know if he's full-time. And Legend Rhony is no longer making content. I mean, like, dude, it is tough to be a YouTuber. Like 99.9% are not going to make it, truth be told. I don't know. Why am I even saying this? Do you guys care about this? I've diverged from the topic of this video. I guess the Chisgule rambling and rant is over. If you enjoyed the vid, throw a like on your subscribe. This has been a journey down memory lane, and what a journey it's been, man. Hoping for many years more, covering Rise of Kingdoms, Call of Dragons, and very appreciative of having the opportunity to have been a part of this program back in the day. I mean, I would say that this program, ultimately, while it was cool to be featured here, like it was the hard work that got it done. And I still put in like quite literally 100 hours a week now to be a full-time content creator. So maybe I'm just super inefficient, but when I talk to other people as well, it's like, I mean, if you aren't actively popping off for a game that is like in a state of massive growth, like you got to work a lot to make it work. You do. You do. And maybe I'm just blundering. So I don't know. We'll see. You enjoyed this one, throw a like and or subscribe. Until next time, you have fun, smash your enemies. Take care, everybody.